Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm so thrilled to have actually my second interview with Jennifer Trask. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, Linda.
Jennifer is a mindset coach and a business advisor for coaches and healers. I love, I've been following Jennifer for some time now. She is an extremely genuine, authentic, gorgeous human being. And I'm so excited to have you here, Jennifer. Can you tell us a bit more about you, please?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for that intro. That's so nice. So as you said, I'm a mindset coach and business advisor for coaches and healers. And I love my work. I feel really blessed. I think that coaches and healers are the catalyst for change on the planet. And the more we can help get them profitable and get them successful out in the world, the more people they're going to help. And because, I really believe any type of help you get in any area of your life helps the other areas. So It's all a snowball effect. I'm from Newfoundland, Canada, which is way out in the east for those who aren't familiar. And I also run my business digitally, which was always a goal of mine. So I guess currently at the time of this recording, I'm in California at the moment. And I've been very blessed to have been around the world with my business, but also it is by design. And I think that, I really believe you can have whatever you want as long as you're willing to align with it and do the work and make it happen. And so that's what I try to put out into the world and help other people do.
Yeah. So can you, what's your story? Have you always been this brilliant coach? Where did you come from?
Hardly. Right. Good point. Yeah, no, I've not always been a coach. I actually never set out to be a coach.
Oh.
I certainly did not say one day I want to coach coaches. It was never that way. What happened for me was I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, so I ended up doing business as a degree, and my first degree. And then I graduated and traveled the world a bit. And when I came home, it was time for me to get, a real job. And I went and got one, and it was in corporate sales, and I was very good at it because I'm a natural people person. Mm-hmm. And about 6 months in, I got bored. And I'd asked my boss at the time, what would it take for me to get into the marketing department of one of the brands? Because the company managed, 30 to 50 different brands. It's a huge, huge worldwide company. And he said, well, first you have to go here, then there. And I was like, well, how long do I have to do those jobs for? Essentially you have to do all these different jobs before you get into the marketing department. And he's like, it's going to take about 5 years. And I remember thinking, so you want me to spend 5 years doing jobs I don't want to do to get to a job that I may not like. And also I have to move to a city I do not want to live in.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, that doesn't really sound like a good deal to me.
Yeah.
So I knew then and there that I was going to have to figure out something else. And I ended up, after that job was over, it was a maternity leave, so I finished the contract. Then I went to MBA school. And in MBA school, I got hooked up with a mentor. And she introduced me to two different people. So one was Abraham Hicks, whom I adore, and who began teaching me, even though I didn't know at the time, a lot about alignment and how to create your own reality and all that. But the other one was she had suggested to me to go to a live event that was coming to town. And I'd never been to any of these sort of self-help events before, so it was all new to me. And I was like, okay, I had an open mind, and I liked the concept. It was called The Power Within is what it was called. Oh, yeah. So I went, and there was about 6 different speakers that day. And when the keynote speaker came on at the end of the day, the whole place went wild. And I remember in the first I don't know, 10, 20 seconds, I thought to myself, that's it. That's what I'm supposed to do for the rest of my life. It was just, I knew it was as if the heavens opened up and shone down and said, there you go, there's your future. And that speaker was Tony Robbins. And and anyone who's seen him live probably knows what I'm talking about. But, you know, more than anything, what struck me that day was, I remember thinking, what better job than to help people live their best life? Like, it just doesn't get any better. It doesn't, you know, in my mind, no. And I think the other side of that coin is, you know, I've always liked helping people. You know, up to that point in time, my favorite job was an aerobics instructor. And so I've always been in sort of helping professions, but I think when I found the idea of it's my job to motivate people, like to build a career around that, essentially, I thought that sounded really good. And so that began my turn into entrepreneurship. Now, I still hadn't at that point in time thought I wanted to be a coach. I just decided, I made a list of 5 things that I wanted in my career. And on that list was, you know, I wanted to be financially, have the ability to financially make whatever I wanted. I wanted the ability to help a lot of people. I wanted the ability to be 100% digital. I didn't want to have to live anywhere specific. And I wanted to love what I did so that I never had to work a day in my life. And I always seem to be lately forgetting the 5th one for some reason. But, I wanted to be my own boss. Now, that didn't necessarily have to mean entrepreneurship. I just didn't want to have someone breathing down my neck, you know.
Or to have to do 5 years of 5 jobs you didn't want to come back to.
Exactly. And even when I had left that job, by the end, they had made some changes from the top coming down, and it ended up that we were being micromanaged. And I remember, so we went from all this autonomy and how we used our day to, we essentially had to fill out a timesheet of how we were using our time and exactly where we were going. And I remember feeling like caged in like an animal. And also it was this untrusting feeling, meaning they don't even trust us to spend our days correctly, or are we using company gas if we go a kilometer for something personal? Like, do you know what I mean? It was too much. So that's where the be my own boss freedom piece came into that list. So I ended up getting into network marketing. That was the first opportunity that kind of fell into my lap. And what was interesting is I could never get it to work for me. I loved the company. I thought the idea that you can't get ahead unless you help other people is exceptional, which is really what business is. So I loved all of it, but like, honest to God, I couldn't make it work. Yeah. And now hindsight is 2020. And now that I'm a lot more, I understand a lot more about blocks and thought processes and emotions and just in business in general. Now I can see exactly why it didn't work. But at the time I didn't know. So the one thing I did do was I started learning social media so I could grow the business online. And in doing that and networking at the same time, I had a bunch of my friends, my entrepreneurial friends, always asking me like, how do you do this on Facebook? And what about this on Twitter? So I started running social media workshops locally where I lived, which ended up me becoming a social media consultant. And long story short, that turned into marketing consulting, which turned into marketing coaching because I had people paying me to tell them what to do and they weren't following through. And I remember thinking, why are they paying me to tell them what to do and they're not doing it? Like that doesn't even make any sense. And then that's where I started to use all the stuff that I'd learned, because at this point in time, I was about three years into having my own business. I started using all the stuff that I'd been learning since that day in MBA school when I first got Tony Robbins, because of course, I bought the CDs and the DVDs and the books and all that jazz. And that began my journey into the coaching world. But I had learned all that stuff for me, not so I could go apply it to other people. Mm-hmm. But now the universe had put me in a position where, okay, well, I'm going to just do this anyways, because if my clients don't win, it's a win-win. You need to win. Like,
yeah.
Right. So that's how I started coaching. And then the final shift was I had a bunch of clients in different arenas, different industries. And I wasn't that happy because I didn't really have a lot of interest in, the insurance industry or the real estate industry and all this stuff that I was helping people in. And I remember feeling overwhelmed with having to try to keep up with so many marketing trends that I'm one person. I don't want to be a marketing firm. That was never my dream. So that's when I started coaching coaches. And when I started coaching coaches, when I went farther into that niche, that's when my business really took off, because I really found where I was meant to be. And what's interesting is in the beginning years of coaching coaches, because it's my 5th year this year, I was a lot on strategy, and I still do strategy work. But over the years, as I've worked with a lot of people, what I've realized is it's not the strategy people need. Most people have the strategy. Mm-hmm. They've taken the Facebook course, the Instagram course. They've tried this. They've read the blogs. They've listened to the podcast. There's no lack of strategy for entrepreneurs.
They've
read the books.
There's not even courses online.
Yeah, and there's not even a lack of free strategy that will build you a business. Like, there are so many amazing people putting out awesome free content on strategy, myself included, and it's no lack of knowledge. It's why aren't people putting it into action? And that's where I have evolved the business today, is that's where I tend to focus a lot of the time. And what's great about what I've built and where I'm going is it's all been a natural evolution. None of it was forced. None of it was thinking I should go somewhere. It was more this natural evolution of a problem, solution, which is why I always say to people, sometimes the fastest path to what you want is through a problem.
Yeah. So one of the things, you've said some very, very interesting things, but one of the things I just want to sort of point out, which is something that I think is extraordinary, and that you had the courage to do, but you found yourself in a situation where it didn't work, but you gave yourself the permission to say, this doesn't work for me. I'm going to be doing something else. So when you did that, can you remember that? Can you talk about that? And can you remember sort of what was going through your mind and how that sort of worked? And was it easy? Like, what was going on for you then?
Yeah, it was hard. And I left that industry, network marketing. I left the industry a year after I should have. I should have left it a year and a half in. I think by a year and a half, I've really gotten everything I could have gotten out of it. And I was only coasting in it because of ego, not because it had anything left to give me. And so, in hindsight, looking back, that experience was the one that taught me smart business people know when to say no and when to let go. And, I've yet to meet an entrepreneur who hasn't failed at something. Most entrepreneurs their first business doesn't work for them. Now, that's not all the case for everybody by any means. And sometimes too, your business evolves and shifts. So you start here.
Yeah.
But then you go over here and over here. And so when you get to the end zone, it just looks completely different than you had envisioned it to look. And sometimes that's based on the business model. Sometimes it's the categories. I mean, it changes for everybody.
Yeah.
But even if your first business is the one that will succeed, you will have failures within it. And I think I think almost learning how to let go is a true testament to someone's level of consciousness where it's not about them, because holding on to it was my just ego being too proud to say, I tried this and it just wouldn't work for me. And I, like, at the time I couldn't handle it. But what happened was the universe forced me out of it because I had to make money. And it wasn't making me money. And there had to be something else. So that's it.
No, because it wasn't like a salaried job. It was just commission or something that you were doing.
Well, network marketing is 100% commission, right? Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just kind of, reminds me of the fact that a lot of people sort of want the end result. And this kind of comes back to your comment about the strategy, and you can find like strategy everywhere. But a lot of people focus a lot on the sort of getting the end result, but not necessarily doing the work.
Yeah. And just so in case anyone watching this is in network marketing, this is not that network marketing does not work. It did not work for me.
Yeah.
And it definitely works. That's why I'm still around. And
yeah,
I have friends who do exceptionally well in it, and that's awesome. I really believe that it was my gateway into where I was meant to go. And we all end up somewhere, wherever we end up. But yeah, I just think that when you hold on tightly to how something has to happen, you block the universe from bringing you the amazing ways it could happen. And I always say business is just like dating. So this is the example of, if you say, this is the ideal partner I want, and it has to be that particular person. Well, everybody knows that doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right? People are probably laughing listening to that. Yeah, I tried that once. That doesn't work. and so often we end up with people who we may not have really thought of. But if you stay open and you say, look, this is what I'm going for, whatever package it shows up in terms of the male or female, I don't care. I just care that these are the qualities. Here's how the fun we have together, blah, 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 whatever. Then you're in the sweet spot of attracting the right partner. And, I think most people, when you look back on your life of how you met different people, whether it was a romantic partnership, a new friend, a new colleague, a new client, you can't plan for these things. And so people come into business thinking because, that you can plan everything and it has to work out this way. And while, yes, you have to make a plan from where you are at that point in time, you also need to remain flexible with that plan, because otherwise you're, so it's not about changing the end goal per se. It's not about saying my list has changed. Like my 5-part list had nothing to do with titles or whether I was an entrepreneur or not, or any of that, but I got the list. But when I made the list, I didn't even know there was such thing as coaching coaches.
Yeah.
Right? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. You were just committed to helping and serving.
Exactly. And I trusted that the universe was going to unfold something for me that what was better, as good as or better than I could dream.
Awesome. I love that. So, I mean, it sounds like your journey has been quite nice. So can you maybe talk to us about maybe the things that you've had to overcome along your journey, and what have been the biggest lessons, or what has been the biggest lesson for you?
Yeah. The money story was a big one for me, which is for most entrepreneurs. I think it's a couple of things. I definitely had the working hard issue. If you ask anyone who knows me well, they'll tell you I'm one of the hardest working people that they've ever met. But that being said, I didn't want to work my life away. I wanted work to be this joy where there was a good ebb and flow, a healthy ebb and flow. But I realized through the years that, there was a point in time where I just had not much joy anymore because the business was sucking the life out of me. And, I'm a pretty fun, happy person. And I remember one day waking up like, this is not fun.
Ah.
And my results were
not fun either.
Not fun either. And so they were reflective of how I was emotionally feeling. Getting over that was one. Also, a big one for me was getting over not having money and allowing it into my experience. Because, I started my first business in debt and I got more and more in debt. So I was good at building money, but it with a negative in front of it instead of the plus. So, what's interesting is, so when it comes to money, I had to learn how do you, because abundance creates abundance. Scarcity, if you feel lack, you're going to get more of it.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel abundant when your current reality is lack?
Yes.
So I was able to overcome that and allow in the business to flow. And the business has grown every year since I hit like coaching coaches, because, the universe is like, well, done. You found your space. And I think that was one of the hardest things. Another thing I had to overcome was learning how to use money appropriately. So, one of the skills that a lot of people aren't taught is money management. And even though it's a very simple skill in terms of, okay, take how much money you have each month, what are your main expenses, and then what's left over, and put some to savings, put some to debt, put some to, whatever. Yeah. It took me a long time to realize I needed to get better at that, because there's a fine balance, and anyone who's into this woo stuff will really appreciate this. So there's a fine balance between the trust of money will come and it's always going to be there and I'll be more than okay, with the balance of reality, but don't flush away your money every day. You know what I mean? So yeah. Because the classic law of attraction, people will be like, don't worry about budgeting it because more money is always going to come if you're in alignment. But here's the thing is, if you make $1 million a year and you spend $1 million a year, you are not a millionaire.
Yeah. You're poor.
You are poor.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and a lot of us are not taught. I mean, this is why in the self-help industry, the money coaches, the money section of it is huge, because, and this is why debt is rampant in most first world countries, sorry. Yeah. Because from a young age, we're taught that debt is okay and this and that. And, I'm not here to give anyone money advice. That is not my area of expertise at all. Mm-hmm. But I did have to learn how to, okay, if money is coming in, where's the balance for me? And you have to find your own peaceful management of it and what works for you, and And that was really important, because my philosophy was, it doesn't matter, I'm going to be rich, I'll have lots of money, the debt will take care of itself. No. But then I was making money and my debt wasn't going down, and I was like, so I was feeling this more, because anyone who has a lot of debt feels the weight of it. But the thing is too, which is what I've, over the years, you're finding that delicate balance, because as entrepreneurs, we also have to invest in our business. So where's the balance? And what I've discovered that works for me is, the truth is that, I think if you're making a plan of action and you're sticking to it and you find out what that is for you, sometimes there will be times you're going to invest and it might stretch you somehow or whatever. But when in your heart, you know it's true for you. For me, every time I've made that decision, it's paid off in terms of the money has always shown up. I've figured it out. But that's also because I have a great trust in my ability to manifest and my journey. And I truly believe the universe wants me to succeed. And so
you do.
I do.
Yeah. And I can't remember where you'd said this, but you said everything's always working out for me. That's one
Everything is my philosophy.
I love that.
See, because Linda, listen, I gotta tell you, like every time I've ever had a problem, because the thing I say to people is everything is always working out for you. Even if in the moment it looks like it's not, in the bigger picture, it always is. So every time there was, I'll give you an example. So a client of mine had done a good few months, like he's kind of growing his business, had a good few months, and then he didn't have a great January. And he was not happy about it. I think actually it was just that the January was not more than the last January. Right. Anyways. And so what ended up happening was this quote unquote problem. He got creative and he thought, all right, it's time to start group coaching now. He'd only done one-on-one. And if he had had a great month with his one-on-one clients, he probably wouldn't have started his group coaching yet. But he loves group coaching. And he got a great first group within weeks.
Wow.
And it brought more income to him. So what I said to him, I'm like, this was a classic case. Like the universe knew you need to start group coaching. It's not that you're going to stop one-on-one at all, but it needed to like wake you up in a way that you would listen, which came through the problem of not having as good a January as he had last year. So it lit a fire under his butt, quite frankly.
I love that. I love that. I love that. It's like problems are living clues as to what it is we need to do.
They are. They're screaming. It's like the universe saying, you know, what's interesting? I was thinking about it, and it's sort of like if you're standing, okay, you know how in a lot of the Europe and places you go and sometimes there's all these tiles in a nice square, like if you were in a piece of land where there's all these tiles, so you're standing on a tile and your tile is blue, and let's say there's a rainbow of tiles around you, but the tile that you're personally on is blue. So if you're looking down at the blue tile and someone says, you know, like, okay, now go stand on the black tile. But you're like, I don't see a black tile. I only see the blue tile. And they're like, the tile is over there. And you're like, I know, I'm standing right here. It's not here. But the reality is you're looking down, which is looking at the problem. You're looking at reality and you're not looking at what's around you. Or most people are like, I'm stuck here. I'm stuck here. I'm stuck here. Yeah. But if you look at any great CEO or visionary who's built wonderful companies, I can tell you one thing. They are not looking at the blue place spot that they're in. Yeah. They're looking at all the colors around them. They're looking over the wall and imagining the tiles over there. Yeah. They're like, I wonder how many are in the next town. Like, they're not focused. And most people are in their heads standing on the blue tile, staring at it, and the universe is throwing you, just look right here, there's a red tile right next to you, but you can't see it because you're so focused where you are. And so I think that is that's something I have definitely been able to overcome, because I recognize that it's not always easy, especially when it's the money thing. And when the reason people have the issues with the money is because they tie money to their security and well-being.
And their value and their worthiness.
And their value and their worthiness. So they're like, well, if there's no money, well, first, there's no roof over my head. And if you are a parent, you have children, and it's not just you now. And so, yeah, it's a big one for sure, and one that I work with on a lot of clients. But what people will find is with money, when they can learn to relax in it, then things begin to show up.
Yeah.
It's equivalent to when they say you'll find love when you're not looking for it.
Yes.
Right?
And it's so like the solution is so, in us. I always say it's an inside job to my clients. I'm like, if you're looking outside, and this kind of, it's not to contradict the blue tile analogy, but it's kind of like, we have to look inside in order to find the solutions that work for us. And this is what I really love about you, Jennifer, is that you're constantly looking in to see what's working, and then you adapt to that without having to, I mean, that's certainly the way that it appears to me, but it's really about you looking in, seeing what's working, what's not working, getting the feedback from that, and then moving forward based on an informed, insightful, like, choice.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. But the other reason I do that is because at the end of the day, your emotion creates your reality. So if you believe that everything is always working out for you are going to be a happy camper.
Yeah.
And the happier you are, the more happiness is going to come to you in the form of the things that make you happy. And that's the basis of why I say to people, you've got to believe everything's working out for you, because if you don't, then every problem, which you'll have because you're alive, is going to bring you down emotionally. And then you are out of alignment, you are out of flow, and you are out of the frequency of the things that are going to bring you what you want. And so you're going to be stuck. You're going to be looking at the blue square constantly.
I love the blue square analogy. It's so good.
Right? It's so true.
No, it is. It is. So can you tell us about the purple butterfly story?
Oh, yeah. I really like this story because this actually ties in with the money talk. So the reason why I like this story is because when you are an entrepreneur, or you're going after any major dream in your life, there's a high level of trust you need to have in yourself and in the universe. Because what I have discovered is that the growth in your business is going to be directly related to your ability to take risks. And risk taking comes with confidence. So this comes back to why when you believe the universe is conspiring for your good and it's always working out for you, you have more confidence in taking larger risks. And a risk can be anything from a financial risk, investing in a coach, investing in a program, deciding to go to that event and you got to book the plane and the hotel and food and all that jazz, to doing your first Facebook Live, to doing your first webinar, to introducing yourself to someone at an event and it scares the shit out of you, quite frankly. These are all risks. These are risks you're taking, putting yourself out there and taking a risk that's in the right direction of your business. And so what happened was my first year, after about a year in business, I had said to my best friend on the phone, I said, look, I believe this law of attraction stuff, and Abraham Hicks says you have to start with something small. So I want to manifest a purple butterfly because I've been learning law of attraction for a year and a half now. And of course, all I really wanted was money at that point in time. And it was definitely not working for me. Like it was going in the opposite direction.
It's going in the minus.
Yeah, the minus. So thank God I had really nice parents who let me live with them for a while. But because they were entrepreneurs too, or Dad was an entrepreneur. So he understood that, this stuff does not happen overnight. So they were very supportive. But anyways, So what happened was I said this to her. Now everybody needs to know, for those who don't know Newfoundland, like Newfoundland is Eastern Canada. We have butterflies. Do we have purple butterflies? I have yet to see one in my 36 years of life, living primarily in Newfoundland. But I think that was part of the like achiever in me that wanted to do, even though it was small, it was still a little hard, you know? Of course I couldn't make it easy on myself at that time, but anyways, that's neither here nor there.
In Newfoundland when you said this to your best friend.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes. And because they always say, which I do agree with, like when there's an area of your life that you're really stuck in, you've got to practice feeling good in the other areas, and you got to take your focus away from that, because if you're trying to manifest money and it's not working for you, stop trying to manifest money. Start trying to manifest something completely different you don't really actually emotionally care about, and watch the universe bring it to you. And it will, because you don't care about it.
Because you're not attached.
Because you're not attached and you have no resistance.
Yes.
So then as you do that, then pick something else, again, you don't care about. What's going to happen is you're going to build muscle. You're going to build belief muscle, and you're going to say, hey, this manifesting thing does work. I just need to do what I did over there to money or relationship or whatever it is you're trying to manifest. Okay. So anyways, I put that out there. So remember, I'm in network marketing. I'm not even I'm not social media consulting, nothing yet. About a year later, I'm in Toronto at a conference with a girlfriend of mine, and we're in another network marketing. I did 2 companies before I officially left the industry. Because that's how stubborn I am. Although both companies were great. So I'm like, but it's really good.
Yeah. That's how
so
you are.
Yeah. So I was in this event with, it was a health event, like holistic people and whatever. My girlfriend and I went because we wanted to talk to the vendors about a product we were selling to help them. And also we were also interested in health. So it was a double win, personally and professionally. So anyways, we went in, and one of the first booths we found was called Soul Journeys. And I remember being very intrigued and saying, what is this? And they said, well, we're Akashic record readers. And I'd never heard of that at the time. And I said, well, what's that? You know, essentially they will speak to your higher self for you, is the gist of it, for anyone who's not familiar. So I thought that was really cool. And they had this 20 minutes for $20 deal. So I signed up. So when my time came, I went and I sat, and this beautiful woman, Nicole, sat across from me. She was about my age at the time. And she began the reading, and she said to me, wow, like you have a really big calling in this life. And I said, yes. She said, no, big, like Oprah big. And I said, yes, I know. And she said, but you're playing really small. And I said, yes, I know. And I started to bawl because she nailed it. Because at this point in time, I was not in a good space. And things were not working. I was trying to make something work that was just not going to work. So anyways, that I knew that moment was my wake up call that something had to change. And so anyways, we decided to exchange business cards because we really liked each other. We talked a little bit after, and we had other things in common. And so she gave me her card, and I looked down her card, and there it was, my first purple butterfly. And I knew in that moment that was the universe saying, you're on the right track.
Good, yeah.
So then over the years, multiple purple butterflies have shown up at different times when I've made decisions that were in alignment with where I wanted to go. And even something as simple as, I remember my niece at the time was about 8 or 9. She was visiting the house, and I was going to leave to go to Starbucks to go to work. And she said to me, Jennifer, will you go play with me? And I wasn't on a pressing deadline. I was just going to go to work. And at that point in time, I remember I was beginning to let go of the belief you have to work hard to make money. So not working to me was detrimental, like meaning like, you know what I mean?
Like you can't make money if you don't work.
Exactly. But at the time she had asked me that question, I was in the process of shifting my beliefs that it's not about time, because it's not about time. And I looked at her, and I remember in my head, I thought, she won't be this young for very long. And I said, you know what? Yes. And I took an hour and a half and went outside and played with her. And so I said yes. And I took her jacket, which is her spring jacket. She'd had it for ages, and it's purple. And I picked it up to go help her put it on. And I looked, and the whole inner lining of it was covered in purple butterflies. And I almost fell off my chair, because that jacket, I'd seen it so many times, but I'd never seen the purple butterflies on it until the moment I made a decision that was in alignment with the future I wanted. So then, a few years later, when I decided to start coaching coaches, I went to my designer. I went to a designer to have a logo made, and then I was going to get the website done. And he presented me with 3 logos. The writing was the same, but the icons on the side were different. And I told him I wanted pink and purple. I'd had brands before, and they were, I was trying to be something that I wasn't. I thought blue was perfect, this, that. But personally, I just really like pink and purple. So I said to him, that's what I want. And so he presented me with these 3 logos. And he said, I did some research on the coaching industry, and apparently 3 rocks are like the icon of the coaching industry. And I thought, rocks. three rocks. So I was like, oh, thanks. I didn't even know that. I thought, whoa, this is getting my money's worth. Anyways, and so what happened was, I brought the 3 images to my girlfriend who knew my purple butterfly story. And she was also an artist. And I said, what do you think? I got to pick between these 3. And she said, well, Jennifer, if you move that rock over, like this much, because, remember, it's the logo, it's all small, right?
Yeah.
She said, they'll all be touching, and then it looks like an abstract purple butterfly. And I thought, holy shit. Because I did not see that.
But she knew about the purple.
She knew the story. Yeah, she's one of my best friends. She knew the story. So I ended up getting a purple butterfly in the logo without even asking for it. And the designer had no idea. Again, he just did research on a coaching initiative. So then the following year, I told my parents that I had decided, business started to finally go well. And so I said to my parents, I'm not going to buy a house or anything, which was the next logical step. I said, I want to travel South America, because that was always my dream, to be digital. And by this point in time, I'd been to, 23 or 4 countries or something. So they were like, okay, Jennifer, you go do that. We're okay with it. And it was important for me. I didn't need their support, but they had supported me so much in my business. And, I'd lived with them for a while. And so it was important to have that open dialogue, and my opinion. So anyways, they were fully on board, and that was amazing. And that was in about April of 2013. And then August of 2013, within an 11-day span, I one day found out Dad had cancer, and 11 days later he was gone. And so that experience, and my dad was he was my biggest fan. He was an entrepreneur. And so losing him was still to this day, one of the most difficult things I've experienced thus far. And also very surprising, because again, we just one day, it's like, you're completely healthy and then you're not. So anyways, even though he passed, I had already had his and mom's blessing to leave. And, I debated staying because mom would be alone, but I really felt that was probably something she needed and I needed to go to South America. And I felt this call to South America. Like I could have gone anywhere in the world, but it was South America that was calling me, for specifically Peru. So I also had an inkling that I would finally see purple butterflies in real life, right? Not just, on paper or on here. Not that I negate the power of any of those. They were, that to me, that's the universe saying, right track, right track, right track, right track. Yes. So what happened was I ended up taking a vacation first. And so I wanted to go to the beach, and I was looking for a beach place in Peru, and I couldn't find a place. So I just literally looked at the map and said, what's next to Peru? And I just looked and, Ecuador is right next to it. So I found this beach place on Ecuador, and I thought, well, I'm in Ecuador, I might as well stay for a couple of months. I got 6 months. So, because I went for the whole winter. And I ended up going to this beach resort. And anyways, for about a month, I just vacationed. And then I found myself in this little mountain town called Vilcabamba in southern Ecuador, right on the cusp of the Amazon rainforest. It's very dense there. So I ended up making a friend who was American, who was getting a visa to come to Ecuador. And she said to me one week, do you want to go to Machala with me this weekend? And she had to do something for her visa. And I looked it up and saw that there was something called a petrified forest there. And I said, okay, let's go. I've never been to a petrified forest. This sounds really cool. And at that point in time, I'd actually never even heard of one. So it's my first time hearing about it, and I was going to go see it. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So we go, and we're on a tour in the petrified forest. And I remember, I was just kind of looking around and looking at the logs and thinking how cool they were. And then I remember I looked up, and all of a sudden there was this huge, with wings the size of my hands, purple butterfly flying over me. And I was actually rendered speechless, because that's a big deal. That doesn't happen very often. And I was like, what? So that day I saw 4 purple butterflies in that forest. And what's interesting is my 2 months at that, it was actually like a castle on a hill. I was staying in a room called the Butterfly Room. And that's the reason I picked that place. It wasn't an accident that I picked that town and picked that specific place. It was a whimsical castle on a hill, created by an artist. And in those 2 months in that town, I did a lot of healing and grieving, and about dad, and also did a lot of abundance work. I learned a lot about abundance. That's when I started making my shifts in allowing more money into my experience and all that. So those 2 months in Ecuador were pivotal to me moving on the journey to where I was going. And it was also the time that I first saw those purple butterflies. And most recently, which is interesting, is so that was back in 2014. So it's now early 2017. And I made the decision to move to California for the winter, because the coaching industry is so big here. So to go to conferences and network and all that. And this was a really big move for me, because financially, as a Canadian, the dollar is terrible. And so my expenses skyrocketed. And it's just one of those things where the way it unfolded, I just knew I was supposed to come. And I just thought this again was one of those, both a financial risk and just a big risk in general, of when you're willing to take the big risks, that's when you can get the big results, right? So anyways, off I go to California. And what's interesting is in the first 2 weeks that I was staying here, I was staying at an Airbnb, and not this one, a different one. And I had decided to just stay in for about a week to 10 days because not really go out, because I just vacationed in Australia for 3 weeks, took a lot of time off, and I really needed to focus and get things done. And one day I just felt this inkling, like I need to go work at Starbucks because I like working at coffee shops. I like people mingling around me. I'm a people person. I might not even talk to anybody, but it's just, you can spend a lot of time. Yeah. And you can spend a lot of time alone when you're a solopreneur online. Right. And that's not always healthy for an extroverted person such as myself. So anyways, after a week and a half of pretty much being by myself in that room, I decided to go to Starbucks. I just felt this compelling, it's like the universe was like, get your ass to Starbucks. Jennifer. I don't know why. So anyways, my host was very kind to me because I don't rent a car here because where I work from home, having a car is to me a waste of money, and it's not like I'm going to drive it that much, and you got Uber, what do you need a car for? Yeah. So, but my host happened to be home and he was running errands, and he said, well, like if you want to go to Starbucks, I'll drop you off on the way. And I said, okay, just drop me off at whichever Starbucks is the closest, because I didn't want him to, go far out of his way to wherever you're going. So we were in the hills, and so there's literally 3 Starbucks depending on the direction he needed to go that day. Yeah. So he took me down to this one. He said, yeah, we're going to go to this one. I was like, great, thank you. That's awesome. Perfect. So he took me down, and he's about to, the Starbucks is on the left and we're driving on the right. And I said, just pull over to the side. I'll cross the road, because he was going to turn in to drop me off. And I said, don't do that. Just drop me off here. You can keep going straight. Then you don't have to try to turn against traffic. So he said, okay. So he dropped me off, and he left, and I looked around. I was like, I saw a crosswalk down to my right, about a block down. And I thought, it's a busy street. I'm going to go take the crosswalk instead of just trying to dash straight across to the Starbucks. So I walked down a crosswalk, walked over the street, and started to walk back up to where Starbucks was. And about 3 units down from where the Starbucks was on the street, there was a store and had, glass casing so you could look in. And something caught my eye, and I looked in, and it was a baby store, and they had a Christmas tree, and they had these ornaments all around it at 50% off because it's end of January. Yeah. And I died. And I thought to myself, okay, universe, like good one. Like, so
this was the Starbucks that was meant to be.
This was meant to be. And, the reason why I tell this story, those are some of the most significant purple butterflies that have shown up. There's been many, 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 but at different times, which is great. But I tell this story because I believe that, the answers are everywhere. And sometimes they come through a book or a word or a sticker or a trigger or a problem or there are so many ways the universe is trying to communicate with you. And if you just open yourself up to allowing in the signs, it will tell you. It will tell you. There's no lack. You just have to look up and realize what's in front of you. Yeah. And I really believe, and what's interesting is I've already been here and some really, the story's still unfolding. So that's the only thing I'm going to say about that. But, it's interesting, things are unfolding, and I know that great things are going to come. And, it's a way to feel that you're not alone, because you're not alone, and especially for solo entrepreneurs who often feel very alone. Yeah. It can be a very lonely journey. So that's why I love that story, because I want people to know that if you ask for the signs, they will come. You just need to stay open to how they show up. And then trust your intuition when you know something's a sign. If you know it's a sign, you know it's a sign. You don't need someone to tell you that was a sign.
Yeah. And that's so amazing. And what I find is that so many people that I've worked with, they either don't give themselves the permission to say that it's a sign, or to actually trust themselves enough to say that it's a sign.
And you know what's interesting? Some people might hear that story and they'll say, Jennifer, those were just coincidences. Like, come on, da-da. And what I say to those people is, at the end of the day, no one knows the real truth of anything other than what they believe. So if it makes me happy to believe that these are signs from the universe that I'm on the right track, then wouldn't you rather me believe that than to not think anything of them and use that as momentum? Because again, what you put out is what comes back. So if that increases my confidence and increases my courage, then I'm only going to get better results, no matter how dumb some people might think that it is.
Yeah, and it doesn't even matter what they think.
No, it doesn't. That's the other thing. I don't care.
And that's the thing I love, is that once we can actually recognize, and this is something that a lot of people struggle with and suffer because of, is that it's like, oh, but that person doesn't believe it, or that person doesn't trust it, or that person doesn't think it's possible. There's like so much suffering because of that. And I've worked with so many people to like help them, I call it deconstruct that story, because it just causes unnecessary pain.
Yep. And the visionaries of our time, whether they were visionaries on a global scale or visionaries from your local community, they had to believe in something better. And or else they wouldn't have created what they created, whatever that is. And I always say to people, that the tech industry is one of the best industries that are a great example of, you can't look at what is and create what will be tomorrow.
Yes.
You have to believe that there is something better. Otherwise, we would not have iPhones. We would not have iPads, and I would not be talking to you. And we're literally, I don't even know how far the distance is between California and France. I just know it's a lot.
It's 9 hours difference in times.
9 hour time difference. And we're talking on machines that are paper thin. And it's as if I can hear you, as if you're right there.
Yeah.
And so, I say to my clients and anyone who will listen, humans literally did create that out of nothing. Yes. And they didn't do it because it's never been done before.
Yeah, and they didn't do it because they thought it wasn't possible.
Exactly.
They did it because they thought somebody somewhere had this crazy idea and thought, hey, this is possible. That's something I say all the time. It's like, if you think it's possible, you're right. If you think it's not possible, you're right.
Oh, all the time. And so, if your current reality is one that you do not want in any area, you have to stop looking at it. You got to start getting excited about creating the vision for your future. And you need to talk more about where you're going than where you are.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Oh, this is such a beautiful conversation. You're truly such a gorgeous human being, Jennifer.
Thank you.
So tell me now, because you're a coach, tell me what you do. So like, how do you help people? Tell more specifically, how are you and who do you help specifically?
Yeah. So I work with coaches and healers and, transformational, anyone in that coaching or consulting business model realm, doesn't matter. And to be honest with you, I've actually had some other people who are entrepreneurs or just people, and when it's the right match, I'll work with them. But generally, just coaches and healers. And I work with them in two different capacities. So strategy is one, And in strategy, we talk about the strategy of what's the plan. So what do the next 3 months look like? And, you know, you're doing this, 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 get this going, get that going. But that is, as I said before, a little more secondary to the mindset work. So what is the mindset work in reality? Well, in reality is the world speaks the language of scarcity and entrepreneurs speak the language of abundance. And if you've been speaking one way for most of your life, then you need time to learn the other language. And anyone who's ever learned a second, third, or fourth, or fifth language knows it does not happen overnight. Mm-hmm. And so what I do with clients, I have a series of tools. So I won't go into all the tools, but like there's a series of tools. And also, I guess one of the advantages I have at this stage in my life and my business is that I have been doing this for a while now. So I've seen so many common threads that it's really easy for me to find a problem for someone. Just based on our conversation. I can listen to the words they're using and say, oh, that's that. And then we can deconstruct that, right? Yeah. So, and I also have processes and tools that help uncover things, because what I find is most people don't know the things they're doing to themselves that's keeping them stuck. Even if you are a coach, it's why coaches need coaches, because, you know, it's the forest from the trees. If you're in the forest, you can't see the bigger picture of the forest. You need to be outside of it, and you need to have no emotional attachment to it. And that's the other benefit I think that I bring to people is that while I am committed to their success, but I'm not up and down emotionally from their day-to-day-ness, I keep in my mind's eye their vision of where they're going. That's who I hold. And to me, they're just en route. So they're always there, which allows me, to keep that clear path for them, so that when they find a detour or a bump or whatever, we can just, you know, keep them on the track. And so, it's an allowing. I think the biggest thing is an unlearning. It's unlearning all the crap you've learned that does not serve you. Yes. And then replacing it with the truth, you know, and that takes practice. And that's where the coaching piece comes in is, you know, so you can get an aha, you can get, I get it. Yes, that makes sense. But moving something from a concept in your head to living it in your heart, and it's who you're being every day, is a totally different story. It's sort of like you can learn something. It's no good to you until you begin to apply it. Otherwise, having that, if you learn how to make $1 million in a business, unless you apply that stuff, you don't have $1 million, right?
Yeah. So it's like reading a book and saying, wow, this is all interesting information, but you don't put it into practice, you're not going to know it.
Yeah. So what I do is we help uncover what the issues are, again, through some of the tools that I have, or also just through the stuff that's showing up for them in their business. There's a problem, let's attack it and see where the root is, because it's always down to the root. And then it's about helping someone shift. So let go of that and replace it with what they need. And that's the process of, that's why the continuity of coaching over time really helps, because it's like you're the trainer and you're helping them get stronger in the new beliefs, the new way of being, the new way of thinking. Because, you know, any new entrepreneur, the best thing you can do for your business is get around successful people as fast as you can, because they speak differently. Right? They have different beliefs. They see the world. The world is one big opportunity for them. And if you don't, that's why they're successful. So it's moving yourself in that direction. And that's, I think, what I do for my clients.
That's awesome. And I know one of the things that I've seen that I love is that you do challenges and you do webinars and you have fantastic one-to-one you also do group. Can you talk about like all the different offerings that you have as well?
Yeah. Well, I think I really believe, I've always had this firm belief, you have to earn the right to sell. So, and also in our industry, people buy the experience, right? Like facts are one thing, but that they experience you. It's really hard to explain what coaching is if you haven't really experienced it.
Yeah,
it's still such a new industry. So I try in my marketing to create the experience of coaching as much as possible for people so they can really see the benefit of it. But also, I also think in as you grow a business, you're going to have more people who don't buy from you than those who do. But everyone's important. Everyone's a piece of the whole pie, because even people who don't buy from you, a lot of times they become your raving fan and they'll share your stuff and da-da-da. And the other side of that coin is, at the end of the day, you're here to serve people, and whether or not they ever give you cash is not the point. You're here to help people. And when you really are doing the work you're meant to do, enough people will pay you that you'll be fine. It's okay that most people don't, because statistically most people won't, right? Yeah. So the more you can make peace with that, the better that it is. I think of, we mentioned Tony Robbins at the beginning of this interview. I have no doubt there are more people on the planet who've listened to his free stuff online than have ever went to his seminars, bought a book, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
That's probably true of
anyone, and of any business. So I do that. And I guess, I've, over the last year or so, I've definitely expanded the way that I work with clients and customers. So now there's more group programs, there's more products, and I also, I'm getting into masterminds this year, which I'm very excited about. So, and of course, I don't know if I'd ever let go of one-on-one. It's too yummy, too good. I mean, who knows? You never know what the future will hold, but
it is awesome.
It is awesome. And being with someone week after week after week, really, there's something magical that can happen when you can create that bond, when you can really dig in and have enough time with someone, because, the idea of change can happen in an instant. It's the application of the change consistently over time that changes your life. Yes.
I love that. And so you have a program, or you have something that's actually launching this coming week. Yeah, so really soon. So yeah, it's the Manifest Your Awesomeness course. But I have a really great challenge. There's going to be lots of free training. And, Manifest Your Awesomeness at the end of the day is about emotional mastery, because it's based on the premise that we live in an attraction-based universe. So what you put out is what you get back. And it's again also based on the fact that right now, if you don't have what you want in your business, it's probably because you're more speaking the language of scarcity than you are the language of abundance. And so the goal of the Manifest Your Awesomeness challenge is first to help people uncover where are you speaking the language of scarcity and you don't even know it. Because you can't fix a problem you don't know it's there. You have, yeah. Right? Yeah. That's step number one, right? And then we definitely go into helping people begin that journey. And then for those who take the course, we really get into helping them learn the language and repeat it, module after module after module. And, I've had a lot of people from the first group, which we did late last year, in their feedback and their comments and testimonials. And as we're going through the course, many of them said it was not what they had expected, in terms of they didn't realize the depth of what was involved and where there are so many intricacies of where the scarcity shows up. Yeah. And so they got more out of it than they had expected, because
manifest your awesomeness. What does that really mean? And to me, it means alignment. It means, if you're totally living in your excitement and your vision and blah, 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 like all these amazing things, your purple butterflies show up, man.
Yeah.
They come and they come and they come. This is when life starts to get easy and people are, what are you drinking? Can I have some of it? And
Yeah.
I can't help it. Like I get this, I get this, I get this, I get this. I just get everything that I want. And
everything's always working out for you.
Everything's always working out for me. And that's what the course is about and the challenge is about. And so it's a really fun, it's about a month together with the challenges and stuff. So we're going to have a lot of fun. And I think anyone who joins is going to gain an immense amount of new manifestations, but new insights. And it's going to be really fun.
Awesome. And they can find, we'll add a link in the bottom so that people can find that, but it's just Jennifer Trask.
It's manifestyourawesomeness.com.
Manifestyourawesomeness.com. And if people want to get in touch with you, they just go to...
Yep, they can go to jennifer-trask.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Jennifer, this has been amazing.
Yay! Thanks, Linda. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
My stories.
Thank you. I really want to acknowledge you for the generosity, the energy, the positivity, the kindness that you put out in the world. It is amazing. As I said before, I've been sort of following you online, and I just, if people are looking for authentic, genuine, coach, then, it's like Jennifer Trask. You check her out because she is amazing.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for being in the community. I love having you there. It's awesome. It's been so great getting to know you over the last year. And I'm happy to be a part of this. I think the work that you're doing is going to help so many people, and sharing your story and other people's stories. It's amazing what happens when we do that work and put it out into the world.
That's right. Absolutely.
So thank you for doing that.
Thank you. Well, that's it. Thanks, everyone. And I'll see you next time. Thanks, Jennifer. Bye.